Now, Dr. Rashid Draman is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, ACEPA. He joins us via Zoom. Dr. Draman, thanks for joining us. First of all, how does this change the way the Appointments Committee will work going forward?
Hello.
Right, Doc, you're live. I was asking how this letter would change the way the Appointments Committee will work going forward.
This is quite disturbing, Daniel. You know, we are reliving the situation that we saw 4 years ago. That involved the same honorable member who has tendered in his resignation right now. If you remember, during the vetting of Honorable Boachi Ajako, there was a scandal that broke out in terms of money issues and bribery and so on. Now we don't know what is, causing this honorable member to resign. But we know leading up to this, all the concerns from the minority side, they are foot soldiers, including even the honorable member that you just spoke to. So I think there are a lot of unanswered questions, and this, those questions raise credibility issues, if you like, about the Appointments Committee itself. And this, I think, is going to be a big game changer in terms of what is going to happen within the minority rank. And then I think what's going to happen going forward in this if Parliament that promises, right from the beginning, to be one that is going to show us a lot of drama.
You mentioned that it could shake things up among the leadership of Parliament. We already have the General Secretary of the NDC, the party forming the minority in Parliament, suggesting that we could have a change in that leadership. There has already been a call by the communications officer, for instance, after the approval of Mavis Hawakumsin, Kojo Ponkroma, and Dr. Osefri Akoto. Is that what you foresee, that Mr. Haruna Idrisi will be changed?
When I read the comments attributed to the General Secretary of the party today, I mean, there was something that caught my mind, and I was very worried. He said in that interview that, the leadership that they have right now, that leadership is temporal. I, found that a bit disturbing, because at the beginning of the 8th Parliament, if I remember correctly, the NDC caucus came out when all the appointments were being made, and they presented their front bench, confirmed the leadership, of their bench. So if what we are hearing from the General Secretary is anything to go by, I am afraid the position of the minority leader might be shaky, as well as all the other leaders from the minority bench.
That's interesting that you say that, and I'm reminded that, for instance, in that statement, it was clear that this leadership was incumbent on the presidential election petition. At the time, there was the indication that if the NDC was successful, then there would be a change. But of course, that did not happen, and so the expectation was that Mr. Idrisi will continue. My thoughts, however, are that, do you think that there is justification in the sentiments expressed by the grassroots, expressed by Mr. Ablakwa and even Mr. Adongo? Is it the case that Mr. Idrisu and his minority leadership are not being tough enough on government?
And I think that if we listen to Honorable Adongo, I heard him yesterday and I read comments attributed to him. I've just heard him now. He disagrees with his side. So, it means that by extension, he disagrees with the decision that the leadership has taken on the approval of the Minister for Finance, as well as perhaps maybe other approvals. And then this addition by the honorable member from Northtown also, I think, adds some flames to what is already burning in the house of the minority. This is quite disturbing because, just yesterday somebody posed a question to me. We are not seeing the kind of oversight that this 8th Parliament promised to provide in terms of what we saw.
Right. Doc, just a moment. If I may, our parliamentary correspondent, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, has joined us live. Kwesi, before we do anything else, Mr. Sedun Kete has been to Parliament this morning, has he not?
Yes, Daniel, he's been to Parliament this morning, and he's not the only person. We also have the chairman of the NDC, Mr. Samuel Ufosampofo, and other members of the Council of Elders. In fact, as I speak to you, they are currently in a meeting. The Council of Elders are engaging the NDC caucus in Parliament. Now, we are told that this is largely because of the approval of the Finance Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. The backbenchers and, of course, some of the NDC MPs are upset and incensed and have accused the leadership of the minority of betrayal because they had agreed that they were going to subject the approval of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta to a secret ballot, but that didn't happen. So the leadership or the Council of Elders have come here to meet them to calm tension, or probably to speak to them to calm down.
Do I get the indication then that the Council of Elders of the NDC are in support of the minority leadership's decision to pass Mr. Ofori-Atta through consensus and not by secret ballot?
Well, that we cannot say for a fact, but the fact that they are here to speak to the NDC caucus may be the reason that some of the NDC members, I should say, are agitated, and that is why they are here to remain calm. And some say that a decision has already been taken. We need to move on as a party. That's the point some of them are making.
Now, Parker, we didn't know this for a fact at first, but we had very strong indications. Does this mean that Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa's resignation from the appointment committee was clearly because of Ken Ofori-Atta's approval?
Yes, my source tells me that it's clearly based on the approval by consensus of the appointment committee. And he tells me that the NDC caucus offered a conditional approval to Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta's nomination. They were asking him to provide some further details and information. Without that, they won't approve his nomination. And so on the day of his approval, the document had come to the House, but of course, members of the NDC were yet to have a better understanding of the document, peruse them, and make a decision on it. So it was the agreement of the NDC caucus that they were going to ensure that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta's nomination will be subjected to a secret ballot, and that did not happen. And that is the appointment many have expressed today.
Now, tell me about the general reaction. Okay, you are saying that there's disappointments that many have expressed, but some would also say that Mr. Ablakwa has gone too far by resigning from the committee. What exactly are people saying, especially from his side of Parliament, about his decision?
Daniel, that is correct. That some say that he's gone too far. He's crossed the line. In fact, he's been accused of engaging in populism. Some of them think that Mr. Ablakwa should have hastened slowly. He should have sought for more counsel before going public with his decision. There were others who also believe that in spite of the research, the sleepless night, or the good job, one would say, he did at the appointment committee, and if it's yielding no result, he has every right to discontinue his membership on the appointment committee. So he has taken a decision. They fully support him. So as I speak to you, there is sharp division between the NDC members over the resignation of Mr. Ablakwa as a member of the appointment committee.
Parker, thank you so much for bringing us those updates. So that's the very latest. The leadership of the NDC, including the chairman and the general secretary, are meeting with the minority caucus in a matter related to the resignation of Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa. Let me quickly come back to Dr. Rashid Draman for the final word. Dr. Draman, the conflict between an MP's personal convictions and towing the line, you know, that his minority leadership decides to take. How does this help Ghana in any way?
Hello, I didn't hear the question. The line was breaking.
I was asking how this entire brouhaha benefits the average citizen in the end. It looks like, you know, a palace spat, a palace coup. I don't want to use that expression, but it looks like there's a disagreement in the House between the NDC members.
Yes, indeed. And for me, I think the way this affects all of us, ordinary citizens, is that, look, I think we are beginning to see, if you like, a surge in party influence in terms of how our members of parliament should behave, our members of parliament should make decisions. And this is becoming very, very disturbing because generally members of parliament are seen as trustees with some level of independence to go into the House once elected, you know, to take decisions that are more in the interest of the country, more in the interest of the citizenry, rather than just the interest of the party. Now, many would say, you know, a lot of the NDC members, you know, have broken ranks with their side to vote with the MPP to approve some of these nominees. But those same people are forgetting that on the night of January 6th leading to January 7th, they celebrated when, you know, they had some people from the MPP side broke the ranks of their party to join them and independently think that they have to vote for the Right Honorable Speaker Alban Bakwe. So I think we have to be very careful about how we look at these issues.
Okay.
I mean, if an NDC member thinks that, look, despite all the issues, I mean, on balance, I think I'm going to vote for the finance minister nominee in the interest of the country, I don't think that they should be punished for doing that.
Dr. Rashid Draman, thank you very much for joining us on this bulletin.